Hey YouTube, and thanks for watching Junkworks Garage. I am having troubles. You can probably see these. It's easier to see when you have the tire on. And I do think, well, I don't know. I keep thinking I'm going to have to change the bearings. But these bushings, especially in the bottom down here, are shot. And the upper ones aren't that great either. I thought I was going to be doing the upper A-arm parts as well, but depending on how this goes anyways, on the other side they weren't bad at all, so I think I'm going to let them ride for a couple reasons here. First, I bought the cheap Amazon kit. Do not buy it. These bushings right here so far, at least on the other side, I can't use them. They are too, the diameter around here is too small for the bushings. Luckily, these bushings, the bushing part, this part doesn't seem all that bad on mine. It's actually surprisingly, the metal sleeve part that we're going to be replacing that is mostly wore out. And I was able to use the bushing parts, these parts yet again, on the other side, and I'm hoping I should be able to reuse these and just replace the sleeve. So the first thing you need to do is undo your brake caliper here. That's just a couple bolts right here, and they're just 1/2 inch, no big whoop. You undo this and it's free. Then we're gonna have a 15 millimeter right here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pop that loose for right now. And these are on here pretty good. And I tightened them a little bit more when I was having problems or noticed it. Now I did a video on using the grease tool that you pop in here and grease the bearings. So if you want to check out how I greased this hole, including the upper A-arm parts and stuff, go check that out. I did that front and back. And then last, on the other side, I was able just to kind of lift up on this and pull it on out and then let it slowly come forward. And then here's the sleeve on the other side anyway. Yeah, it popped right out. In fact, it popped out more easy than this one. This one doesn't actually look as bad as the last one, which this upper one on this side didn't seem all that bad, to be honest. And I got some robo grip things here. You can use a screwdriver and pry, use a pair of vice grips, something like that, but yet again this seemed to work real well on the other side, so that's what I'm going to stick with. And I am being very careful with these, trying not to squeeze too hard or damage them, because I need to reuse these. And like I said, they definitely are in there pretty decently. I'll set those to the side and keep them. And then there's the other one right there. I'll set that to the side, and honestly, this yet again, this is very clean in here. I'm going to take a fairly clean rag and some brake clean and spray a spot. And then take that, shove it in there. I've seen people use bottle cleaner things on and stuff like that, but this works, and that seems like a pretty good idea. If these were really grungy and dirty and greasy, I would probably do that, but they just aren't. In fact, they didn't have very much grease at all, which I think could be part of my problem. I just got some wheel bearing grease. That's what I got. I've seen people use white lithium and all kinds of other things, and I'm going ahead and putting some inside and out. I'm going to just go ahead and grease it up decently so that like I said, basically it takes up the room of maybe reusing these. Stick that in there. And then in that kit is this size. You'll see, just compare the bushings to what comes in the box, although I would yet again say don't go buy the cheap Amazon one. maybe go to Super ATV. They got a fairly inexpensive one that looks identical to this, but I think it is a little bit more. That's why I kind of went with this one. Probably should have went with the Super ATV one. That's probably what I'll do next time if I have any problems. But regardless, taking the new pins and just stuffing those right up on in there. And I coated them as well. And if I use those other bushing things, which I'm not going to bother because I don't even want to deal with it, but I was able to actually move the new bushing around inside, and it moved around inside of this housing. So the bushings that they give you, the black pieces here, are just not big enough. Absolutely not the right size for this machine. It did say it worked on like the 570, the 800, and blah blah blah. So I am wondering if maybe the 570 is smaller, but I don't know. We're gonna go ahead and lift this up and stick it on there. There is a little bit of corrosion on this, so I am just gonna go ahead and slather some grease on these as well. Next time I do this, I will probably try and see if I can find a kit that has new pins, but for right now I'm not going to worry about it too much. Whoop. And then you got to put this front to back here. I'm going to take the excess grease actually off this part of the bolt, what I can. Then we got our little washer and nut. And I'm going to tighten that up. Yet again, you're responsible for your own torque specs. I'm going with tight. Oh man. This one is really on there. Alright, yet again we got a decent amount of corrosion on here as well. And then I'm going to just pull that up and lift up on it. These have a metal sleeve, which do seem to be good in the kit. So I'm going to set these to the side. On both sides here, and then yet again we have the plastic ones here that will carefully peel off. Holding this up's been kind of a pain in the butt, so I'm gonna, there we go, set that on top of the rubber mallet here, and now I can use both hands and kind of pull out on this. This is another thing annoying me about this kit, is look how big those are and how tiny that is. That's all they give you, is like 20 of these to replace all these parts. So yet again I'll be reusing these. The same thing on the other side. Whoop. And that one came out with the pin, so there will be a pin in here if it doesn't come out with it. And I'm just going to kind of clean these ones up a little bit more. They're definitely a little bit more dirty than the other ones. My stupid camera shut off. I don't know if you saw it. I just lubed them up, put everything back in, same as I did on the top here. But now it's time to go ahead and put this back. I don't know if you saw these right here. I lubed them up as well. These are the metal ones. There's two metal ones on the bottom. I don't know why they don't put them on the top, but they don't. But you get the metal ones on the bottom. I don't know if it's an afterthought and they needed to take up space or what. Now this one on the other side was definitely a little more difficult to get lined up and in there, but I just got my little beater hammer here and I just beating on it somewhat gently. And yet again, front to back here. I have noticed it does like getting caught on the little metal clip, so you do kind of have to bump it on through, it seems like. I had to on the other side as well. And yet again, I'm going to take and clean some of this up here. So I have no grease on the threads. Then your washer and your nut. And yet again, I'm going with tight. I am not going to worry about these upper ones up here because they don't need done. And I don't have the time to do it right now. And I don't think my kit is correct for that kind of stuff anyways. I hope that does alright till I can afford another kit at some point. That'll definitely be a next year thing. We'll ride it a few times on these. If I notice something, then I'll deal with it then. It doesn't appear that it's damaging any of this stuff, so I'm not too worried about it. I'll keep an eye on it. Now I got to put this back on, but I'm redoing the brakes, so go check that out. Yet again, I have a RZR playlist on my channel. You can watch that on. And in my video, I'm going to show you something that I haven't seen on any other videos on YouTube. So go check that out if you want to learn more about the brakes. I'm going to button up the back end here and we will get on the front. I decided to, before I put this down, I was going to show this to you, and basically it's definitely better than it was. I'm not actually seeing a lot of movement in there, but now I'm pretty darn sure it is wheel bearings I'm going to have to do, which unfortunately yet again are going to wait a little while, and I think I'll be okay for a little bit. And I think I'm going to have to do all this all over again and just do the bushings again with a different kit because of what happened. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this up just because that's how you would change the bushings. It's no different than if you had the right ones or the wrong, or like me where I reused parts of it. That's how you would do the outer bushings. As far as the inner ones, in testing, they seem fine. I'm not going to do something that doesn't need fixed yet. So now we're here on the front end doing the bushings here. I'm also doing a lift on this, so if you want to go watch that, go check out my Polaris RZR playlist. And so I got to take the top off. Normally I would probably just take this bottom one off and get it up out of the way, but since I'm doing the lift, I might as well take the whole thing off. And it's not that hard. It's a 15 millimeter on both sides here. Let's see, righty tighty, lefty loosey. There we go. Oh, I'm gonna have to go this way because that's deep. So now if your vehicle has the sway bar end link here, that's going to be attached to this. That's why I got this extra shim in here and just reuse the same bolt with an extra shim. There's a whole story on that when I did the sway bar. I have a video on that as well, taking those off, so you can go check that out and the story about it on the RZR playlist as well. And then just kind of lift up on this, it'll fall free. And then on this one, you got to use the end wrench up here on this side, actually facing in. Made it easier on the other side. This is a T27, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of the bolts here, or screws here, and there's 2 more down here and here, so 6 altogether. So there's also a couple of clips on the either side here you got to kind of pop out. You can usually get them with a screwdriver, but they do make a tool, but I don't think you can get in here with that tool very well. So if you have really pristine plastics, you probably want to be more careful than I am and tape that up or something, but if you pull the middle of it out, they'll pop out. It also appears that this wants to come off as well. I had this off last time I took the front off, so didn't realize that. So there, now that should come loose. I'm gonna have to undo my winch a little bit to pull that further forward, but oh, I got signals, so I had to unplug those as well, and then the light bulb just kind of twist out. I've tried unplugging them, but it's just definitely easier just to twist them out and let them hang. And then here's the one downside about this right here is I don't think this will fit through here, but it might. It did. Alright, well that worked out alright. We're going to go ahead and take the caliper off here. Now, some people say to take this off. I'm going to leave it on for now. I may need to take it off later anyway, but right now I'm going to just leave it on. And let's see, when you go up. So, I use an open end wrench, and it does come off. Although, I had these off one other time, and I think I did Loctite them with some blue Loctite. But this will come out, contrary to popular belief. And there it is. We're going to bring it up through here, in between the axle and the bottom of the A-arm here, and then up through this hole here. And try not to bend it too much like it doesn't want to be bent. And then set that there for now. And then right here, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but there's a black plastic piece that's riveted on. And I broke part of it trying to get this out on the other side, admittedly. But if you're careful and try hard enough, you might be able to get it out without breaking it. Or not. Whoa. Alright, so I got her out of there. Quite honestly, I'm just going to take it, put it up back here for now. I think that'll be out of the way enough for what I need to do now to get these off. We are here in the front, getting ready to do the bushings here, and the first thing you'll notice, I have a strap right here, and I just have it kind of wound around the front of the A-arms here behind the brake caliper, and I'm just going to take that and lift up on it and take a little bit of weight off. Now yet again, we have the shock out of here. I'm not sure exactly how this is cutting together because I'm doing 3 different videos. I'm putting a lift in, I'm doing brakes, and I'm doing the bushings. And yet again, I will say I've done the other side, and this bushing kit I bought is absolutely the wrong kit. The actual metal part in this one is, the bushing is not long, or the metal part is not long enough. The bushings, I went ahead and bought a different kit off Amazon, if I can find it. It was around 20 bucks, and it has, I got these greased up already, but it has these longer bushings in it. And it comes with these, some shorter ones like the ones that didn't work in the back. I'm not sure if they work from this kit. Maybe one day we'll find out, but these are the right bushings for the front as far as the plastic parts. Now, I only bought the plastic parts thinking the metal parts in the other kit would work, but unfortunately the metal sleeves that go inside here on the kit I bought are too short. So I have to reuse these ones in the front. Yet again, if I had to do this all over again, I would go buy a completely different kit and do it all over again. But I'm kind of halfway through, needing to get it done, need to get this out of my garage. And if I have problems down the road, which I'm sure I will be doing this all over again. But this is still a very good representation of doing the bushings in the front end of this thing and the rear end of this thing. I've watched people do these bushings and I've looked and I'm trying to figure out, it seemed like there should be an easier way to do it rather than have to take all this stuff apart to deal with this stuff up here. Because I'm not dealing with the ball joints and stuff in the front. I'm just doing these bushings back here. So that's where this ratchet comes into play. I did this on the other side, so hopefully it'll work on this side. And we got a 15 millimeter, and we're just going to go ahead and start pulling this out. I started with the top on the other side, so I'm just going to do the same thing. I don't think it really matters which one you start with. It should work either way. And then I just kind of lifted up on this on the other side and it came out fairly easy. And it's not going to do it because I'm filming on this side, obviously. You know, I'm doing it on film. It's going to be a pain in the butt. I'm going to bring this through. So I actually brought it down through here and got it completely out of the way. Now we should be able to pop this out. Watch your brake. Yet again, it's not one that come out very well. It's most of the way out, but I'm just taking and knocking this with my mallet, which brings this forward. Now you probably want to be careful with your ball joints, but I'm going to put a 2x4 across here and that'll just kind of lay on that so it's not at too much of an angle here. And then I'm just taking an old rag and getting the goobers off and pulling these old things out here. And the bushing's coming out this way, so I'll do that. I'm going to go ahead and clean it off as well. Set it to the side for now. And this bushing here. That'd probably be more ideal if you were like me and you actually cleaned this up before you did this, but my power washer broke and I have not gotten to fixing it yet. And then I'm going to as well kind of clean this out up here. And over here where it goes in at. A little bit of brake cleaner. Then I'm going to take and spray some brake cleaner in here and mist my bucket all together on the floor here. Definitely going to go through a thing of brake fluid on this, or cleaner on this one. Get out what you can with that, and then unlike the back, this is quite a bit greasier and goopier, so I went ahead and got the bottle brush, or this is actually just a pipe cleaner of some sort. I could cut this shorter, but it worked fine on the other side, but yet again I'm filming. Might want something that's got a little bit stiffer of a handle, but yet again, I didn't want to cut it too short, so I wanted it fairly long to get through here. I'm fairly happy with how that cleaned up there. Now, we have our bushings, which I have greased up already because I had grease on my hands from the other side, so I figured I might as well kind of do as much greasing as I could. And these definitely are fairly snug in there, which is good. And yet again, I got my little beater mallet, just kind of tap them in. And then I'm gonna give this a good coating of grease on here. And stick her on in. Unfortunately, this is the original one that came with it, because like I said, the kit I bought did not work. And then we are going to stick that back up in there. And I'm going to go ahead and lay some grease on this as well, just to hopefully keep the corrosion down and take up a little bit of space as well. So you gotta put your washer and your nut on. I put a little bit of Loctite on this front one. I didn't do it on the back. I probably should have. Yet again, I'm probably going to have to tear some of this apart in the future, so I don't know if I'm going to worry too much about it. I'll keep an eye on it. Going with tight, you need to figure out your own torque specs. Now, the bottom is exactly the same as I did on the top here, so I'm just going to fast forward through this. If anything happens, I will tell you, but as far as doing everything, it is identical to the top one on the bottom. And last time somebody did this, they didn't put the washer on this one, so I'm going to have to get me a washer to go on here. That came out a lot nicer. And then this one, we can just take our mallet and just kind of pop it out of the bottom. Honestly, last time I left the strap kind of around this area, and I think it held better that way, so you might want to actually leave the strap in this area, because as you can see, it's not really holding up a lot. The only reason I put the strap there is to just kind of keep it from flopping too far. So that is kind of holding that up that way for me. So the next thing I got to do is the brakes. Those will be done on another video, so you'll have to go check out my RZR playlist to find that. I need to put the shocks back in, and I found from the other side, after I put the bottom in and started trying to get this top in here, it wasn't going to work. So make sure you put the top in first. And I've started Loctiting things as I've been putting them on. I know I need to do more work to this, and I probably should have told you to Loctite everything when you finish up. Even though these nuts technically are the locking nuts, they're kind of a one-time use thing, so you really do want to kind of do that. Regardless, and then to get this bottom one on here, I noticed I had to put that in there and use a punch from the other side here and kind of lift it up to get that actually in. And then tighten everything up and we should be done. Well, hopefully this side's as good as the other side. I have not done it yet, but other than a little bit of steering slop, we are excellent in the front end. That fixed all of whatever problems I was having in the front end, and I don't even think I need bearings here. As far as the back's concerned, when I'm up to working on this thing again and I don't feel like kicking it down the road practically because I'm tired of working on it, I will probably be taking the new bushings that I got and getting those back there sometime soon, but I'm not going to do that on video. Everything I showed you here is exactly how you should do it, other than the fact that you should buy a better kit than I did as far as the bushings are concerned. Note on that, I looked at the Super ATV kit and it looks identical to the kit. The one that they say fits this one looks identical to the kit with just those small bushings. So I would highly recommend checking that out before you buy it and maybe talking to them about that, because I don't think that kit's going to work with this rig. This is a 2011, so I don't know, things changed a little bit in 2011. I don't know if maybe this was a one-off year of bushings or something or what, but the kit definitely does not work with this rig. Hopefully you enjoyed it and got something out of it. Now get out there and get your junk working. Thanks for watching Junk Works Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and master of none. You all have a good one.